What's going on, guys? It's Adam P. And welcome back to more Newcastle United transfer news. Currently here at Dubai Airport, 10 hours I've just spent on my first plane getting here from South Korea. My second plane back to Newcastle is 8 hours, so we haven't even touched the surface of my travel. You can imagine by the time I get back home, I'm just going to go straight to bed. So we've essentially pre-recorded this video around midnight-ish. It'll go around 11 a.m. in the UK, so my information and the news we're going to be talking about in this video shouldn't be outdated, but I just wanted to give you that heads up just in case. Now, when I do wake up, there's going to be a second upload on the channel today because I'm fully expecting big transfer news today. I think we'll have massive news regarding Benjamin Sesko, and as things stand, I think it'll be positive news. I think Newcastle will sign Benjamin Sesko, and I want to start this video off the bombshell there. I don't think Manchester United will fork £80 million into him. And I reckon Newcastle's second bid yesterday is exactly the power play we've been waiting to see our football club do all summer long. Now, by us putting this bid in there, we've already had a bid rejected just below that region. Manchester United now has to act. Newcastle's winning with real intent. It's the second bid in the space of a few days. We know, in our point of view, behind the scenes, we're rushing to try and get this player in. I think it does scream that Alexander Isak will leave this summer. But I would also say it's entirely possible that after the signing of Benjamin Sesko, Liverpool then might offer Newcastle less money than they were previously going to do. Liverpool might try and play hardball and try and get Isak on a much cheaper deal. Newcastle may just refuse and go, well, listen, you guys are going to do this, we'll sell him next summer. And I think it is potentially possible, although Benjamin Sesko is going to be an Alexander Isak replacement. I reckon Isak could still potentially stay just off the fact Newcastle is not happy with what Liverpool pays. I think that could be a genuine possibility. But the reason why I'm so confident is due because Manchester United need to focus on our areas. They haven't shown any real intent in this signing. They've said they wanted to bring him in. I say a guy like Mark Goldberg say, oh, we're going to offer him more wage as well. Put the fee in. He's bang on about wages, but you haven't even spent a penny on this guy yet. You haven't even attempted to sign this player yet. You told the world that you want to get him. We'll go get him then because Manchester United haven't put a single penny in RB Leipzig and they haven't shown RB Leipzig or the player that they want to sign him. All they've done is said, we want you. But the reality is they're sitting in the corner watching as Newcastle is actually making the move towards Sesko. And we are the only team that is actually trying to sign the player. We clearly want the player. He knows he's going to come in and he knows he's going to be the number one striker at Newcastle. And he's by far our most expensive player ever. He's talking nearly £80 million. That is a massive transfer fee for Newcastle. And it's a player that is going to develop well and be one of the world's best at Newcastle. I'm fully convinced by it. I'd much rather Newcastle spend this money now on a young up-and-coming striker who's going to have a real value, is going to do a lot for Newcastle, and it's going to be here for the foreseeable future. I'd rather spend this good money on a striker that's going to develop rather than an Ollie Watkins type of player who's past his best years, will cost a fortune, and he won't be able to sell him for any money. I'd much rather Newcastle do it this way. This is a real power player. Because Newcastle's been quick with this deal. Manchester United's hands have been forced. They have to make a move now, and I don't think they will. I think Manchester United's bluffing. I don't think they're going to do this. They want the player, but I don't think they'll commit like this. I don't think they'll put that kind of money down on Benjamin Sesko, which is why I'm certain at this stage that I think Newcastle United completes this deal. But of course, crazy things are happening in football. Of course, football is unpredictable. Maybe Manchester United decides to go against the odds and to put crazy money down in Sesko, but I reckon they need to get our players in. So I think Newcastle has been smart, and while we have probably spent more than we would have wanted to, it's a good player. I always buy quality over quantity, and if we have to spend more than we would like to, I'm just glad we get someone in. This solves the problem, and I think Isak will leave after the signing of Benjamin Sesko. And I wanted to tell you a bit of exclusive transfer news as well for what I was taught last summer. Bobby Clark is a player that has been reported from the Chronicle to be offered to Newcastle United. Now, I don't ever tend to use the Chronicle as a credible source, because I think especially in terms of transfer news, it just always seems to have a lot of hit and misses. It just don't seem to be credible enough to be able to stick with them each time. Now, I wanted to include Bobby Clark because he's quite an interesting story. Of course, the son of Lee Clark was in Newcastle's youth system, left the football club during the Ashley times, where, to be fair, in his point of view, our youth team was awful, had a horrible system, and it was a player where it looked like we've lost the hidden gem. He went to Liverpool, and while I haven't been able to watch his career game upon game, played in the Carabao Cup final, won against Chelsea. It was him amongst several youngsters that had the real opportunity of being able to play in a cup final for Liverpool. Since then, he's moved on. It hasn't quite worked out for him, but he's been offered to Newcastle on a free with an option to buy for £5 million. And I felt like this was an interesting one because Lee Clark told me last summer that his son, he had a chance to join Newcastle United. He would do it at the right time. He would take it in a heartbeat if it was the right occasion for him. And while I don't want to be someone that speculates on a transfer and tries to drum it up, that's what Lee Clark told me last summer. And now Newcastle is potentially linked and being offered the chance to sign his son this summer. I think the question you got to ask yourself is Bobby Clark good enough for Newcastle United? I feel like he is, and then he isn't at the same time. Now, I think he is in the sense of bring someone in on a free loan signing. You know, if it goes well, he can spend £5 million. If it doesn't go so well, he can let him go back. But I think he is worth taking the punt on. Again, we're sort of showing Longstaff this window. We know in Newcastle, they're going to be fixated on getting two strikers in and a centre half. They may not have time to get a centre midfielder this summer. And while I'm never ever expecting Bobby Clark to play for Newcastle in the Champions League, I'm not expecting him to be able to carry our team. But if Newcastle's not going to sign a midfielder this summer, why not get him on a loan? Why not just let him sit on the bench and we'll see if we can figure something out for him? Because this is a player, although he left Newcastle's youth team, and some of you guys may go, well, he felt like the grass was greener elsewhere. Now that his career's not going so well, now he wants to come crawling back to Newcastle. But let's be honest, would you have left our youth team during the Mike Ashley times? I think every single player would. You can't exactly blame him for wanting to change his youth career during the time before the takeover. Like, I think it's harsh to criticise him for doing that, since it wasn't even when the takeover happened. Now that the chances here again, he doesn't fit UEFA guidelines. I've seen quite a few people claim that, well, you know, if he gets in our Champions League squad on UEFA guidelines, he can play. He has to be at the club for 3 years between the age of 15 to 21. He left when he was 16. So, to my understanding, he doesn't fit the bill because of that. But a player who certainly, I think, on a free loan signing, he will 100% want to play for Newcastle. I think if you're not going to sign a centre midfielder this summer, you should take your punt and try and look at him. But if Newcastle, of course, are looking to bring a centre midfielder in, I think we should look elsewhere. But I just want to tell you my personal information. Lee Clark did tell me last summer his son would join Newcastle if he did actually receive the offer. And finally, Alexander Isak, of course, returned to the training ground yesterday. And I want to speak about the training ground first because the actual first team returns on Wednesday. I can have a sigh of relief, by the way, because I would have been a bit gutted if they came back on Tuesday, because the second I got off the plane, I would have actually went straight to the training ground. And again, 18 hours worth of flights. I am going to be so tired. I want to go home. And I do get to do that because they return the day afterwards. So I'm personally buzzing in that respect. But in terms of Alexander Isak, he surprisingly came back on Monday. So he came back by himself, was inside the training ground for just over 3 hours, according to Pete Graves at Sky Sports. Said that he came in with his thigh injury to get it checked up in the medical team, and then he was straight out afterwards. I'm still not convinced with the Isak stuff. I'm not convinced this injury stuff either. I reckon Wednesday, Isak will probably come in, have his meetings with Eddie Howe, and potentially will train alone. I don't think he'll go anywhere near the team. I don't think he'll train with the team, and I think it's entirely a possibility where Eddie Howe might just keep Isak completely out of the first team until we are more certain and clear about his future. I think he'll train by himself. I think he'll have those meetings with the manager tomorrow, and I think it's a real decider if he returns to the training ground for one, and two, how long he's there for, what is he doing inside the training ground. Massive questions that will tell you straight away what Newcastle United will do with Isak. I reckon we'll find out exactly what's going on tomorrow. And yes, I will personally, of course, be there in person to see what's happened, to let you all know on the ground, you could say, in the front lines, we'll let you know what's going on, because this is such a big transfer for Newcastle. They need to get it right. They need to sort this out. Isak, of course, is a player that wants to go out. I think is always going to have that move, whether it's this summer or next summer. It's not going to change that. But Eddie Howe wants to keep him now. Eddie Howe has been firm. He's called Isak out during his time in South Korea. It's a lot of tension. There's a lot boiling over on behind the scenes. And I think there will be a breaking point. I think eventually it will reach that breaking point, but you have to just try and sort this out. Sesko solves the problem. If you get Sesko, you've got nothing to worry about. If you don't get Sesko, then you're going to be sweating a bit, and then you're going to be thinking, what are we going to do next? But Benjamin Sesko, I think, solves the problem. You can let Isak go after that if the price is right. I'm gutted, peeved off, and I wish things were different, but there's only so much you can do when a player wants out, and we have to look for that record transfer fee now. You can get anywhere near that £150 million mark. You've got a serious price for Isak, and the money's going to help us long term. A player that wants out regardless. I wish things were different, but they're not. But yeah, we'll be able to show you over tomorrow. If you don't mind me, I'm waiting for my plane. I need to go to bed shortly, so appreciate you watching. Take care. Again, as I said in the intro, double upload today. So once I wake up, there will be a second video. Take care, and we will see you all later on.